at the right time.
Hello and welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I am Agam Akil, and the benchmark indices have advanced for the third straight day, and the Nifty, as a matter of fact, has moved above the mark of 10,700. As you can see here from the intraday graph, it's largely moved within a range, however in the green throughout the day, ending the session with gains as much as 0.4%. What are the big movers in today's day of trade with respect to the index? Well, it was Yes Bank leading the gains today, followed by heavyweights such as Hindustan Unilever and Tata Consultancy Services. We've also had earnings from Kotak Mahindra Bank, and we will talk about that in detail a little bit later on. Axis Bank, on the other hand, was looking at a little bit of profit taking, and Reliance Industries, of course, also reacting to its earnings, followed by UPL down as much as 3.3%. In the broader markets, we had two gainers in comparison to one loser, and Merck stood out on the back of its earnings, as well as the merger and acquisition news that we had from P&G coming in. Securities Intelligence up 10%, Indiabulls Real Estate along with Indiabulls Venture, both of these stocks from the Indiabulls group well over 7% in trade. But not a good session for PC Jeweler, down as much as 20%, extending its loss-making streak for the 7th straight day. And we're looking at declines in Bhushan Steel and SRVI Infra as well. On the whole, however, we've seen more gainers in comparison to losers. But let's bring in Neeraj Shah to make understand better of what the underlying fundamentals, or for that matter, the variables, are telling us right now. Neeraj, it was a mixed day of trade. I know we saw the benchmarks advance, but diverse trends in banking, and is the same for the IT index for that matter.
Yeah, but Nifty IT did do reasonably well, and I was just making this point throughout the day that when you have Nifty Bank and Nifty IT contributing, you typically don't see the index ending in the red, which is actually a good sign. But here's the drill. I was just looking at this. Look at the charts. So, for example, the 5-day chart for the Nifty and the last 5 days, the Nifty's had some gains, right? 1.4%. Now, contrast this with what the Nifty Bank has been doing in the last 5 days. There's a bit of a catch-up. Remember this level, 1.47 versus the Nifty Bank, 2.29. So Nifty Bank, which hitherto had not performed well, has now started outperforming or contributing in a meaningful way. If this continues, then that's an added support to the index. But today, the broader market action, Agam, was fairly impressive too. The small cap index, 1.6%. It started well, and it stayed well throughout the day. So you can see the nervousness that would come in before a trading holiday. Maybe the global cues are all okay, and people are not too worried. So climbing the walls of worries one after the other, looking okay for now.
Absolutely, Neeraj. Thanks for that. Of course, as Neeraj put it, in the broader markets, as I was talking about the advanced decline ratio, in the Nifty 500, we've seen more gainers in comparison to losers. But that said, of course, banking remains in focus today on the back of the big earnings that we've seen coming in. We've had Kotak Mahindra Bank and HDFC a little later on coming. So we have Shraddha Babla now joining us to give us an idea about what's going on. Shraddha, let's start off with Kotak Mahindra Bank.
Fantastic set of numbers, Agam. I mean, there was a marginal miss on the bottom line, but then all the other parameters were actually, the growth and the asset quality trends remained healthy. So net profit came in 15% higher at 1124 crores, but on a sequential basis, we did see an expansion in the net interest margins. You had provisions that came in at 307 crores versus 213 crores. Gross NPA came in just about 3% higher sequentially in absolute terms, and at 2.22% versus 2.31% as far as the ratio is concerned. The SMA 2 outstanding is also at a mere 72 crores as compared to 67 crores in the earlier quarter. So asset quality trends remain extremely healthy. The loan book growth came in at a strong strong 25%. So, Agam, be it be any parameter, the bank has actually performed and delivered.
And also one of the top gainers on the index today, Kotak Mahindra Bank. But HDFC, Shraddha, how are those numbers out there?
Again, a fantastic set of numbers. The net profit growth beat estimates. The net profit growth came in at about 39% to 2,846 crores. This was aided by a tax write-back component and also on account of gains of 265 crores from the sale of stakes in two subsidiaries, HDFC Developers and HDFC Realty, something that the bank, that the lender had already updated about earlier in January when the sale came through. They made a special one-time provision of 80 crores from the gains that they have made in these two subsidiaries. But that apart, even if you look at the loan book growth, the other parameters, loan book growth at 18% was in line with estimates. The individual loan book growth has grown by a strong 23%, and gross NPAs have also reduced marginally, 1.11% versus 1.15%. So nothing to complain about. Very good quarter for both these
Absolutely,
lenders.
not too surprising there, at least as far as consistency goes for both these financial institutions. Thank you, Shraddha, for joining us and giving us an update on those earnings. But we're going to have another big Nifty company announce its earnings on Wednesday. That's HCL Technologies. We're expecting a steady set of numbers coming in, especially on the dollar revenue front. We're expecting an uptick of around 2.6%. Margins could come in and expand slightly sequentially to around 19.8% against 19.6%, and profits consequently could move up by as much as 2.5%. Now, we're all going to keep an eye on the guidance, and this is the only company that gives us a guidance when it comes to yearly on revenue basis as well as on the margins front, of course, along with Infosys. So in the top line, we're expecting a guidance growth in constant currency terms of around 7.5 to 9.5%, and margins are expected to be guided at around 19.5 to 20.5%. Not too much change with respect to what we've seen in FY18, despite the fact that, remember, Infosys did cut its margins, however TCS did not. In terms of other expectations, where we are expecting a significant increase in its pipeline throughout the FY18 to aid revenues this time around, and infrastructure management services likely to see an uptick as well. We are also expecting about a 5% uptick in its organic growth, and its acquisitions could see a little more consolidation coming in. That said, we will be watching out for organic growth outlook and its M&A preference in FY19, and of course traditional and traction in digital and IP partnerships, not to mention the contribution of Mode 2 and Mode 3 services to the overall revenues pie. So on the whole, we're expecting a steady set of numbers for HCL Technologies, but for that we'll have to wait and watch for coming in Wednesday. That said, let's take some concluding comments from some of our technical analysts about what they think about the Nifty and where they expect it to move. We have some of these technical analysts who are talking to us about the different levels that we can keep an eye on the Nifty. Listen in.
The open interest addition on Friday was maybe a bit puzzling, but if it is a long position, I guess then we open the headroom for 10,850. One would get the feeling that it was IT earlier, maybe it was Reliance earlier, IT still on, maybe it was Pharma some days, and now it's time probably for the Bank Nifty to sort of play its part. 25,400 was important in terms of spot. Next level comes in at 25,800 and 26,200. So one gets a feeling that the Bank Nifty has been a bit lazy. It's playing catch up. So I guess that's going to lead it forward.
Nifty and Bank Nifty is looking good to me. From here on, there is a possibility that we might see upside move in the index, and from here on there is a possibility that on high side we can see levels of around 10,800, 850 levels. I think for a trading perspective, one can initiate long positions in Nifty at the current market price. If there's a dip of around 20 to 30 points from present levels, then that should be used as a buying opportunity. And on higher side, immediately we can see levels of around 10,800, and if that is taken away, then extended move can be seen till 10,850 levels.
And with that, it's a wrap on the markets, but don't go anywhere. Lots more lined up, so stay tuned in a Bloomberg Quint, and we will keep bringing you more.